Good morning, everyone. Got my gym clothes on because I'm about to go to Lovell this morning. And today is the last day I am taking to get my classroom done. I am almost there. I've been taking lots of trips to the dumpster. So today I am not doing conferences. Today is my last day that I'm going into Lovell to finish the classroom, which means it is also your last day on your own before we pick back up tomorrow. So conferences, hi Chester, on Wednesday. He's going to go on the screen. We're going to have conferences Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, but not today. Today is going to be the same thing as yesterday. I need you guys working on your final exam so that you can finish your final exam, get feedback on it, and then submit it again by Friday. I do have some announcements I want to bring up. And I'm going to use this time to actually post some links for you guys so you guys can do some extra makeup work, because I know some of you have texted me saying, hey, what am I missing? But I can't look it up in the middle of cleaning and packing up and going up and down stairs. So this is going to be very helpful because I'm going to give you some links right now. First of all, I had a question on yesterday's video that was very good. You guys know that if you're going to an Orange County public school for middle school, that you can keep your laptop from throughout the summer, and you can take it with you to 6th grade. But if you have not picked up your school laptop and you want to pick it up now, you can't. It's only if you have it already. So I had someone yesterday say, hey, can I go to Lovell and pick up my laptop and then keep it? There is no picking up laptops. It's only if you've picked it up already. Okay, I hope that makes sense. But if you try to go to Lovell and you try to pick up your school laptop, that is not available anymore. It's only if, good morning, you have your school laptop already with you, you can carry it on. You need to turn that laptop in, though, if you're not going to an Orange County public school. Piedmont is an Orange County public school. Apopka Middle School is an Orange County public school. Private schools, they are not Orange County based. Okay? If you're having a problem with your computer, then you can turn it in to the school. That's what I would do, is I would call the school and say, my computer's having a problem, I'd like to turn it in. And the people at school will give you the advice. I am not the technology person, so I can't really say this is what you should do. But if you have your school device and there's a problem with it, call Lovell, and they'll probably ask you to bring it in because they don't want you to carry that to middle school. That's a great question. If there's something wrong with your laptop, call Lovell and talk to them about the problem you're having and say, can I bring the laptop and turn it in? Okay? All right. If you have any questions about laptops, type those in and I'll come back to them at the end. But I wanted to answer that question first. Okay. So today, what are you working on? You're working on your final exam. I had a couple people send me their final exam yesterday, and the first thing I said was, do you think this is at a 5th grade level? And they said no. So I said, okay, go ahead and revise it. Guys, I know it's been a long year. I know distance learning has been tough, but if you're only writing 1 or 2 sentences, or if you're doing the minimum and not taking care with your work, then you're not going to finish on a strong note. So on Google Drive, and I'll put the link in right now, it's the same link every day. On Google Drive right now, your final exam, which is due Friday, you've had lots of time to work on it, it's due Friday. Here's the link. Your final exam is not due the 27th, it's due the 22nd, which is Friday. And when you go on Google Drive, there's actually a lot of helpful links and photos of how to make sure you're writing at a 5th grade level. So if you are on Google Drive, you'll see it says complex sentence starters, precise words. I'm going to be looking at your writing saying, did you use Google Drive to help you write at a 5th grade level? If I put it on Google Drive, I want you to use it. So there's the link to Google Drive. Everything from yesterday is still there today. Okay, that covers laptops. That covers today what I want you to work on. Awesome. So I do have some people that have done very well at doing their exam a little bit each day and writing a nice chunk for each question. So now I'm going to give you guys 2 old surveys to do. because both of these are graded. Okay. The first survey was a distance learning survey. 22 of you already have done this survey, and I'm putting it in the chat right now. 22 people have already done that survey. However, and sorry, that's the one, I'll read you some of the questions. It says, put your name in from the tracker. And then the second question says, what have you been doing well? What have you been changing and improving? What are you thinking you're going to do for a better week? That's the distance learning survey. But you guys have an end of the year reflection to do. And this is a grade. Only 12 people have done that last one. It says reflection, end of the year. How do you feel like you've grown this year? What's something you've learned about yourself? When you think of middle school next year, what do you visualize? Share a happy memory from this past school year. It's a survey for you guys to do. Oops, that's messed up though. I'm just realized I made a mistake. That's a survey that you guys were meant to do for an assignment. So your final exam and that survey I just put in are very similar. So these are things that you should be thinking about, not just at the end of the year, but every couple weeks. So those are some things for you guys to work on. If you're sitting there saying, I finished my final exam and I did it at a 5th grade level, those are 2 links that you can check. Did you do the distance learning survey? Did you do the reflection? I will update you guys a little bit. I don't know in August what's going to happen. I don't know how school will look. But I do know that there are some choices and some options. You guys, we might go back to school in August and everything might be completely normal. We might go back to school in August and it might be totally distance learning like it is now. We might go back to school in August and it might be a blend of in-person and on the computer. We might go back to school in August and it may be that we're in school, but we have all these distance or all these quarantine things in place. So when you guys do that distance learning survey, and as you finish out this year, this may not go away yet. So that survey is still very important for you guys to think about. How do you do online? Because there is a chance that when you start 6th grade, you're going to start it the exact same way you're learning now. So if you've not been doing well so far, you need to think about how you're going to change that. You need to make yourself a little learning space. You need to ask for your teacher's advice on how you can do that. But it's really important that you guys know that come August, you may have this exact same situation you're in. And so what are you going to do to change? What are you going to do to improve? All right. So I've kind of talked about a few things. Please type in your questions as the video goes, and I'm going to answer them now because you guys know that I'm going to level very soon. That's why I came on early. I'm going to go to level very soon, and I won't be available. Please rewatch this video from the beginning if you're just now joining, because I gave a lot of really great information in the beginning. Just looking at Chester being silly. Okay, so if you've already done both surveys, you don't have to do them again, but I would say go back through your answers and make sure you answered the question fully. Because if you did it the first time and you rushed, this is a really great opportunity to go back and to make sure you answered it fully. You don't have to write a paragraph for the surveys, but when I read your answer on your survey, I'm expecting to be saying to myself, wow, they really thought about that question. Okay, they really, really thought about what it means to them. So take your time with that, okay? So those are some of the missing assignments that you guys may have. What I'm going to do real quick is you guys can type any question you have in the chat right now. I'm going to read you the names of people who have done the end of the year reflection. So there are 2 surveys. Jesse, Elida, Harmony, Christian, Jamarion, Georgina, Eric Diaz, Jaden, Rachel, Jasmine, Angela, and Belinda are the only people who have done the reflection end of the year survey. Those are the only people that have done the reflection end of the year. That link I just put in the chat. If I didn't say your name, you haven't done it. or you didn't submit it. Okay. The distance learning survey. This is the first one I assigned you all. I'm going to read all the people who have done this survey. People who have done it. Ready? Georgina, Lewis, Rachel, Jaden, Christian, Bailey, Connor, Pedro, Jasmine, Elijah, Kaiza, Mario, Jesse, Eric Diaz, Angela, Harmony, Jalen, Yasmalen, Belinda, Jackie, Yordi. If I called your name, you did your distance learning survey. If I did not call your name, that means you have that survey to do. There's 2 surveys and an end of the year exam. So you guys are working on your end of year exam for about a week now, but there's 2 surveys for you to do if you've not done them. If I didn't say your name, you've not done it. If I said your name once, that means you're missing one of the surveys. If I said your name twice, you're done with all your surveys. You're caught up. But this is something that you guys can continue to work on today, because tomorrow on Wednesday, I'm calling and doing conferences and I'm available to catch up your work. So this is me giving you some catch-up work to do. Okay? So with that, the only thing that I will probably do before I sign off, I'm not seeing questions, is I'm going to go through your final exam right now, and I'm going to read each question, and I'm going to talk to you about what I mean on each question. So some people have said, I don't understand question 6 on the final exam. I'm going to go ahead and take my last few minutes of this video, and I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about the questions on your final exam. If you have a question about anything, type it in the chat for me. Okay? Or if you want, you could pull up your exam right now off Google Drive. All right. So I'll give you guys a minute if you're pulling it up. If you have a question, type it, and I'm going to come back to it. But this is your only opportunity to talk to me today. You can text me. Like I called someone last night. That was fine, but didn't get a chance to talk to them until like 6 o'clock at night. So just beware. If you guys don't take advantage of this opportunity, all the people that are here, I'm going to tell your adult, hey, I'm busy, but they didn't ask any questions this morning. So now is your time to ask questions. All right, your final exam. All I'm doing is I'm reading it off of Google Drive right now. So everything I say is on Google Drive. So you don't need to ask me again. You can just go and look on Google Drive. Like I said, if you have a question, type it as I go. Okay, your 5th grade final exam is due May 22nd. It's a typo on Google Drive. It's due Friday. If you normally get extra time in class because you have Mrs. Rosen, or if you have a 504, you get extra time for this assignment. Please know that. That is your legal right. Please know that when you go to middle school. If you have Mrs. Rosen and you get extra time on tests and then you stop getting extra time, pull that up with your teachers. Anywho, you are allowed to type or handwrite your exam, but it needs to be in complete sentences and it has to be multiple paragraphs. You can turn it in before Friday. That's fine. There's a rubric on Google Drive, which is basically a description of what an A looks like, a B, a C, a D, or an F. You can use anything on Google Drive to help you. Since you probably aren't going to be able to pick up your journal in time, you need to use charts off of Google Drive. You need to go back into folders and look for things that were helpful. That is your journal. So Google Drive is your journal to use for this assignment. Okay, there are 6 questions for your final exam. Someone's asked a question, but I don't understand. Why was the exam for? The exam is a reflection piece to get you thinking about your year. Okay. Question 1 says, how do you think at a 5th grade level? What kinds of questions do you ask yourself while reading? What have you learned about digging deep? Share a memory you are proud of yourself for doing this thinking. Question 1 is all about how do you think at a 5th grade level? What does that look like? What do you think about? And if you use Google Drive, you'll be able to answer all of that question successfully. But I also want you to include a memory where you thought about something deeply and you knew, hey, I know I'm thinking at a 5th grade level, okay? And how that felt. That was a huge part of this year, guys. When you guys go to middle school next year, you're going to be in classes with people that when the teacher asks you to think about a character, they're just going to say the character name. And you're going to think, that's not a 6th grade level. So think about, what does it mean to dig deep? Okay, what kinds of things do you think about? Use Google Drive to help. But I want you guys to carry that work to middle school. Oh my gosh, if you walk into your reading class in 6th grade and you say, no, so-and-so, when we read about characters, we have to think about them a certain way. We have to think about them at a high level. You guys will be off to an awesome start. That's question 1. It's all about reading. Question 2 is all about writing. How do you write at a 5th grade level? What kinds of things do you include in your writing? Which strategies will you take for next year? So again, use videos on YouTube, use Google Drive. You guys have all these assignments that you've done and all these notes that you've taken for me in distance learning. So even if the video is not available on YouTube because I move things and delete things, you guys have a notebook of things that you've done for me in distance learning. So use that as a tool to help remind you about what writing looks like at a 5th grade level. I'm not seeing any questions so far. I'll keep going. Question 3 for your final exam. It's all on Google Drive. It says, when you sit in your 6th grade language arts class next year, how will you make sure you read and write at a 6th grade level? How are you going to push yourself? So number 1 and number 3 are kind of similar. Number 1 is, how do you know you're at a 5th grade level? Number 3 is, okay, what are you going to do when you're in Piedmont or Apopka? What are you going to do when you're at your desk to make sure you push yourself? So number 1 is, okay, what do you do to think at a high level? Number 3 is, okay, what are you actually going to do though? What are your steps? I know, hey, if I want my kids to do theme, they have to study character. But what are you actually going to do when it's that moment and you're in class? Question 3 is, what are you going to do action-wise? Question 4, share with me your favorite stories, books, or texts this year. It could be something we all read together, something you read on your own. And I want to know, why did you like that text? Why did it stick with you? And then why is that important to use next year? You guys don't understand how important this is for me. Is next year, I could use all the same stories we used, but if there's a story that you just really meant something to you, I want to use that. Same thing goes the other way. If we did a story that you weren't really a fan of, share that with me. I am always trying to improve. Like, take a lesson from that too. I'm always trying to improve. There were some stories we read that I didn't like Princess and the Pea. I didn't really like it, but it was good for our learning. Like, it helped us with the goal that day. But share with me the kinds of stories that really, that stuck with you, that you loved, whether it be with me or your independent reading, okay? Like Refugee. I know a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, that book changed me. Okay, now we're on to question 5. If you had to give advice to the next class I will have, what kind of advice would you give them? What would you say to them? What do you think they should do to get prepared? And then after you give advice, I want you to reread it and say, did I do that? Is that something that I did or something I regret? I know I can sit here and I'm going to go meet one of our new teachers at Level today. And I can talk to her and I could say, this is all my advice for working at Level. But did I actually do what I'm going to talk to her about? It's easy to tell someone what to do, right? It's so easy for me to tell her, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. But then I should say to myself, did I actually do those things that I'm putting on her? Because if I didn't, I need to think about, wow, that's something I regret. I want you guys to do that. That's that whole survey question. Number 5 is all about, what would you tell those 4th graders? Hey, you should, this is going to help you. This would help you. This would help you. But I want you to take a step back and say, is that because I did those things? Or is it because I regret not doing those things? You know what I'm talking about? Like, if you say you need to pay attention and sit in the front of the classroom, is that something you did, or is that something you regret not doing? That's question 5. All right, and I'm going to say the last question, and then I'm going to come to the chat for answers. Question 6 on your survey. Think about the entire year to lessons you've learned. And I'm not talking about reading and writing in question 6. Think about the entire year to lessons you've learned. In my classroom, Stewart's classroom, Mrs. Alfano, or even Mr. Gill, or Mrs. Hale, Mrs. Sorasti, anybody. What has changed your heart this year? What will you take away with you next year? Question 6 is not about reading and writing. Question 6 is about what changed your heart. What did you learn as a life lesson, as a friendship lesson, as a lesson about yourself, as a lesson about your attitude? And what are you going to take with you next year? Question 6 is not, I learned how to read better. Question 6 is not, I learned how to improve my writing. Question 6 is all that stuff in your heart that you learn along the way in life that are important. Those are the things that I'm looking for in question 6. Okay. So that is me going through your whole exam, kind of talking to you about each question and how to approach thinking about it. So so now I'm going to look at the chat, and this is your last chance to drop things in the chat because I got to leave fast to get to school on time. I've explained the exam. The exam is on Google Drive. Everything I read to you is on Google Drive. You can always rewatch this video. If you're asking me about your specific assignments, I'm going to glance right now, but remember, I'm not doing conferences today. I'm doing conferences Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So like I said in the beginning of this video, you're going to work on your final exam, and then you're going to make sure that you did the 2 surveys that I'm linking and have linked in the chat. If you're sitting there going, I don't know if I did the 2 surveys, watch this video from the beginning because I named every single person who turned it in. There's 2 surveys. So if you get your name called for one, that means you need to do the other, or vice versa. If you get your name called twice, it means you have both surveys done. Awesome job. But that's your job today, is do your final exam and then do both of those surveys. I will talk to you tomorrow about every other assignment. And then did you get my survey in Google Drive? I am going to look at my email right now. Because if you're submitting things, yes. Okay, let me see. Wednesday, 5/13, invitation to edit. I'm looking right now, Angela. There's no title on the document, so I'm just opening it up to double check. Yes. Yes, Angela, I received it. If you emailed me, I received it. Yep, so I've received it. Make sure you have both of those 2 surveys done. No worries. You too, have a good day. But that's it. That's all I got for you guys. Watch this video from the beginning. Really important announcement about laptops in the beginning. I named every single person who did the 2 surveys. So if I didn't call your name, then that tells you you've got some work to go back and do. Make sure you use Google Drive to make sure your final exam is at a 5th grade level. If you're confused about the final exam, rewatch this video. I went through every single question and talked to you about what it meant, what the question meant. But that's all I have. So if you're good to go, you can leave and you can continue your work for today. Also, Ms. Stewart, make sure your math and science is all caught up, people. And you got 3 days. So have a plan when I call you tomorrow. Massages, I want to know about this, all that. Okay, people? All right. Have a good afternoon. Thank you. I will finish cleaning. There is no other option. Got to get it done. It's good. It's sad. It's sad seeing the walls completely bare and stuff and that. But new beginnings are exciting. I hope you guys are excited for that. Don't forget your parade is on May 27 at 5 o'clock. That's when you're going to pick up all your stuff, old and new stuff. But yeah, you guys too. Have a great day. Text me. I won't be available right away, but I'll get there eventually. I promise. All right. Adios, people. I'm going to stick around for 30 more seconds to see if any questions pop up. Otherwise, bye, 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 bye. Chester, say bye. Say bye to the children. All right, you guys are good to go. Bye. All right, I'm going to end this video then.